What is up, YouTube? Enforcer5150 here, and what we're doing today is we're going to finally benchmark the i9-9900K 14 nanometer 8 cores 16 threads base frequency of 3.6 gigahertz, and it can boost up to 5 gigahertz. We're just going to do the standard boost on this one, and see, we have a 16 megabit cache, and it is a bit expensive, so much that my cat's probably really pissed at me right now because I haven't got her one of those cat houses or anything like that. And it just looks at me, stares at me. You bastard. You could have bought me a cat condo. Instead, I'm sitting in a damn toilet paper box. And I'll get her something eventually, and then she probably won't even use the damn thing. Anyway, let's just get right on to the setup for this. So for high settings, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put everything at high. We'll have the anti-aliasing enabled. We'll have the trilinear for textured filtering. Now for medium, I'm gonna put the anti-aliasing mode to 2x MSAA, and we're gonna have the textured filtering at bilinear. So we're gonna go ahead and start with 1440p, and we have the high settings on the left, and we have the medium settings on the right. And right away, we can see that both of them are going to do really well on a high-end monitor or high refresh rate monitor. Like I've said in other videos, you basically want to stay over 60 frames per second unless you have a high refresh rate monitor, and then you want to try to get at least the 144 or higher than that. Now this is with the 2080 Ti, so you're definitely going to have really high frame rates with this GPU, but the processor with CSGO, it really does make a difference with it. Now we're going to get on to the smoke parts. Now these smoke areas, it is doubled up smoke, which has been brought up to me plenty of times in my previous videos, and you see we got down to 68 frames per second on high, and we got to 85 on the medium settings, and now those are both over 60 frames per second, and that is plenty good if you're running on a say a 60 hertz monitor. You're only going to get that 60 frames per second anyway. Having over, and long as you're consistently over, that's good. But if you're using a high refresh rate monitor, then you definitely want to get more than just 60 frames per second on the lowest. But this is also with stacked smoke, so it's a very rare instance that you're actually going to get into a situation where you're smoked out that much. So let's go ahead and take a look at these results. So at the highest settings, we have a low of 68, an average of 324, and we have a maximum of 534. At the medium, we have a 76 low, and we have 421 for an average, and 622 as our maximum frames per second. So moving right on to 1080p settings, and we get a lot of the same on the high that we did on the medium settings that we had for the 1440p. And I've said this a few times, but you do really want to pay more attention to the average frames per second that you're getting than the actual low. Those lows can be devastating a lot of times, but in this benchmark with the smokes being stacked, as I said, you're really not getting a full idea of what's the actual lowest that you're going to get. And I think that's kind of important because yeah, you don't want to get under 60 frames per second, but you're really not going to get under 60 frames per second in a lot of average gaming when you're just playing competitively. So we're getting about a 127 low, and that's going through the smoke, and we get a 146. So 146, I mean, that's at medium settings, and if you have a 144 hertz monitor, I mean, you're kind of set right there. But that second smoke stack to 136, which is still not bad. I mean, that is really freaking good, and it is doing a little bit better than how the Ryzen 7 was. But this is Intel-based CPU, which favors DirectX 9 a lot. So let's go ahead and get to the results. In 1080p at high, we have 119 for our lowest, 404 for our average, and 614 frames per second for our maximum frames. With the medium settings at 1080p, we have 136 for our low, 519 for the medium, and 754 for the maximum on medium settings at 1080p. And remember, the average is really more where you want to be looking at on these either way. So I did do some 4K just on the highest settings, just to, you know, get that in here and get some benchmarks of it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to, you know, bring it up now that, you know, some, you know, 4K monitors at 60 hertz are starting to become a lot more of a norm, easier to get, a little bit cheaper. You know, the high refresh rate ones from Asus and Acer are 144 hertz, but they are extremely expensive, and I really don't recommend, you know, getting one of them anytime soon until those price drops, or you just want to start throwing money at stuff. So here are the final results of everything we did today, and you can see that the 4K really didn't do that bad. Obviously the lowest was down to 32 frames per second, but that's, you know, through all the smoke and all that. But it did get an average of 219, and that's the highest settings. So it's there, but it's not. You know, it still may have some time. I mean, this is also, you know, DirectX 9, so we want to take that into account as well. So as you can see here, the frame per second counter is right in the middle there. You know, I'm getting around 160s, you know, frames per second, which is plenty good for, you know, 1440p monitors and stuff like that, and really crappy for people that are supposed to be using knives in the game and decide just to use guns. And I'll have to just stick my pissed off cat at them again. Damn, she's pissed. Anyway, let me know what you think of this CPU and maybe even the graphics card, the RTX 2080. Anyway, this is all I'm going to do for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. Y'all take care and happy gaming.